Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've uploaded a video because of my final week, my birthday celebrations.
Zeytinyağı ortalığı düşün. Ben zeytinyağı sometimes...
Tutamıyorum ama biraz zorluk çekiyor. Ben tutayım yine.
İyi ki doğdun. And finally because of the new year. But hey, I'm back again and I will be talking about all of the books that I have read in that while. And it's pretty a lot, actually. I mean, where do I start? First book that I want to talk about is a classic, which is A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. Yeah, I would say I give it 5 stars because it's a classic, because it's a very great written book. I would also want to say that it wasn't for me. I was expecting something way more different. I was expecting more like a love story. I didn't really think that it was a love story. It was more like a history book for me because it always explained what was happening in the Victoria era in England. It didn't really fit my expectations. It was a great book, but it wasn't for me to that time of me reading it. It's definitely not my favorite book, so I don't really want to talk about it. Now let's dive into my thoughts about The Museum of Innocence by the Nobel Prize winner Orhan Pamuk. I had high hopes about this book, expecting a rich, thought-provoking story, and not to mention, again, I was waiting to read a very romantic book as how people told me. But the thing was, it was nothing about a romantic book, it was only about an obsession, which is totally fine as well. I love sick, I would say, books such as Lolita. Lolita is one of my favorite books ever, and I don't think that I have to mention the fact that it's like undeniably one of the most disturbing books ever. But the issue in this book was the fact that I felt like all of those things that were going on was being romanticized by the book and by the readers, which was such a turn off to me. But the book started with a literal cheating. Everything starts with cheating of our main character. My issue was not the infidelity of the story or the uncomfortable themes that were going on, because that's not the issue, but I felt like the intentions were not the same as the other uncomfortable books, which really annoyed me, and I didn't want to read it anymore, and I DNF'd it. I read it more than the half of it, but I just couldn't stand it anymore. I hated the characters so much, and I felt like it was really affecting my mental health, so I just quit. The book still remains in the romantic bookshelves, which is not fair. It is not a romantic book. It shouldn't be advertised that way. This book is getting a TV series adaptation really soon, as far as I know, and I'm scared for it. I don't think that I will be watching it. I will totally be learning about what is going on, if it's a great series or not, or if they will change something or not. Also, I want to talk about the fact that this book has a real museum in Istanbul, Turkey. If you like the book, I think you should totally visit that place, because I really wanted to as well before reading the book, and then I read the book and I just had no motivation to go there, and I don't have any reason to go there. The next book that I read was a very interesting book that I've never read something like that before, because it was involving with so many issues from real life, and the book has its own issues as well because of the plot, and which is Butter by Sako Yuzuki. I am very glad that I read this book because, like what I said, I've never read something like this before. I give it 3 stars out of 5. It was a very slow-paced book, so if you don't like slow-paced books, this isn't probably for you. I've seen multiple people who have DNF'd it. I also think that it has issues with it, but it doesn't change the fact that it was so different and unique that, you know, I just think that you should read it again. The main plot is a journalist interviews a food lover, I would say obsessed, serial killer, Manako Kaiji, who's a real-life serial killer. But the focus is on recipes and not the crimes, which is a very different theme, I would say, while blurring the lines between them. We are interviewing a serial killer, but we are never talking about the victims. We are never talking about how she killed them, etc. There's nothing about murder because the serial killer just refuses to speak about them. So we just talk about daily things. But are they really daily things? Issue with this book was the half of it was just about the food that they're talking about. It is just a book full of really great descriptions of food, which quite literally made me gain weight by just reading the book. I just didn't understand how it happened, but I gained 2 kilograms while reading this book. I swear it almost cured my eating disorder. And I am not lying or exaggerating it. I searched about that thing and I've seen other people also experiencing the same thing as well. Because the book talks about the unnecessary and high beauty standards in Japan and how it affects women and the society as a whole. So it doesn't only talking about crime, food, but it also talks about eating disorders, beauty standards, and feminism. This book has so many layers and depths to it, so I think it was pretty impossible for me to not like this book. My only issue about this book was how things changed dramatically. What I'm trying to say by that is, in the first halfway of this book, the only thing that was written is about obsession, but any kind of obsession towards that serial killer, obsession towards any food and how it grows on our main character, etc. It was more like psychological, or if you want to say psychological thriller, because you don't really understand what's going on. It's almost like the main character loses her mind due to the serial killer because she is really into the crime, and at some point she quits trying to solve the crime and all she thinks about is food and the serial killer. And then when you hit the page 300s, all of a sudden the main thing goes again to the crime. But the reader just cannot care about that issue because, you know, the plot wasn't around the crime. It was about psychology and what was going on in our main character's brain. And all of a sudden, when you move on to another subject, the reader doesn't care about that subject that you're going. So there were 2 different patterns in the book, which wasn't a great choice. The book should have been continue in that same tone that the writer used. Okay, I am checking my reading journal to see what I wrote. I wrote, this critical society comments and obsession changes dramatically to thriller and crime solving puzzle type of thing, which is so true, and which was pretty weird because, you know, changing the plot of the book or changing the intentions of the book all of a sudden is just not for anyone. The other thing that I want to talk about is the fact that most of the characters are highly different than usual. They're all, I would say, kind of weirdos, but it makes all of it interesting, and you will be finding yourself not agreeing with so many characters, which is also a great thing that I consider as. Next books that I will be talking about, but not that much, is the Last Hour series by Cassandra Clare, which is my childhood. I love her. I love Cassandra Clare so much. And it's one of the authors that I really want to meet one day if I start being a fangirl. The Last Hour series were probably not the best of her books. I would say it's my least series of hers, but it's totally okay. I love some of the characters. I love how beautifully written. I love Cassandra Clare this much because of the fact that she finds a perfect balance of the plot and the character making thing. It's perfectly balanced for me, and I love reading her books, even though they are considered as young adult fantasy books, but they're just genuinely, for me, they remind me of my childhood. And not to mention, the last time that I read any The Shadowhunter book was probably 4 years ago, and I felt like I was reading my family that I've missed so much through the years, which was 4 years. So yeah, that was it. I could just make another video about this series or just Cassandra Clare books in general, but I don't think that anyone reads her books anymore. But I just want to be clear about the fact that I am with her side. I'm with Cassandra Clare's side till the end. One of the biggest reasons that I won't be talking about these series right now, it's because of the fact that you just cannot read the whole series by itself. I suppose you should read other Cassandra Clare books as well. So if you like fantasy, please do, because those characters become your family members, and they're so precious. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'm not very happy with the way that I've talked in this video because I didn't really have the motivation to shoot the video, but anyway, I still did. The next video will be better because I'm reading The Secret History right now and I'm loving it so much, and I'm working on a video. Yes, so get ready for it. Please subscribe my channel and support me because I really need it. I'm a very small creator currently. Have a nice day. Bye.